Hi, everyone. I'm Stefan Spijkers. I'm co-founder of Navigatio, and we had some technical difficulties, so thank you for being with us. I'm glad you're all here today on this afternoon, this morning, this evening, depending on where you're joining us from. It is going to be a session, a one-on-one session here together with Raphael, but it's also with you or together with you as we are, well, discovering the truth about sales together. You can see the comments section here on the right-hand side. You already saw my comment there. Basically, leave your question or give any feedback you might have, and we'll take that into the conversation, of course, as well. Maybe some quick words about Navigatio first, and then I'll let Raphael introduce himself. We are a Navigatio and a B2B funnel and demand generation platform. So if you are looking to automate your lead generation and automate your demand generation, then we are the company you're looking for, basically. We help you, well, with automated processes, but with a personal touch to define your ICP, get your message funnel in order, and also make sure that process is working well for your CRM. Now, with that out of the way, and everyone here live, indeed, as we are on YouTube, let's head on over to our speaker and our conversation of today. So, Raphael, maybe could you introduce yourself?
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me, Stefan. My name is Raphael. I'm entrepreneur and sales manager and transformation mentor, business coaching. And well, on the special occasion, a title was Why the Process Doesn't Matter. Well, to give you a quick overview, the idea we had, Stefan and myself, was a couple of weeks ago when we talked about how I suffered basically from closing big deals, and that was extremely frustrating for me. And most of the time, it took me up to 9 months or longer to close a deal with a 500 million or 2 billion enterprise company. And here it would be for us definitely interesting from the audience to hear. Does anyone also have challenging closing deals?
Right. I do. So I'm not sure about the rest of the audience, but I think one of the main problems we've been trying to solve with Navigatio is sort of the lead generation and demand generation, right? But that's only the start of the funnel. And I think one of the problems I personally have, and that is something I've had with multiple, not with Navigatio, but also in previous experiences and other experiences and roles I've had, is not just getting that conversation going, right? So to get the interest of the prospect that you're reaching out to, but actually, I mean, you have the foot in the door, right? You have that conversation going. Maybe you even have them on the phone. It's not just a LinkedIn message conversation, or it's not just an email that they finally reply to, but getting them to, I would say, connect with you and connect with, and for me to connect with the problem they have, and also how to solve that. So I'm not sure if that makes sense, and I'm very curious also to the audience. So what they are facing, and if they are facing any challenges when it comes to really closing deals. That's definitely a problem I see.
I guess from the audience, is anyone expert here? Well, anyway, let's jump into it. We would like to cover some points today. So number one is we will analyze why the sales process actually doesn't matter. Number one. Number two is we will also talk about my personal mistakes I did in the sales process, and furthermore, we will to manage how I could reduce the sales process from 9 or 10 months or longer to one single meeting, or how I could close in the last 3 months, I think 17 new customers with 2 to 3 billion companies. So basically, take a note if you have any aha moments during the webinar. Would be helpful afterwards, and let's come back to why the process doesn't matter in the end. Well, in my opinion, and in the end, it's very simple, right? If the sales process takes too long, your client will lose the motivation working with you. So it's basically for me a showstopper. At least, I mean, it may be, there will prioritize other new upcoming projects. You cannot control the sales process anyway. It's risky, it's very high, and it really can take up to 9 to 12 months. Depends on the project, depends on the amount of investment they need to know to do, the decision process, and people that need to get involved, or the prioritizing of your project. If you not lead the customer and try to close him in one meeting in a short period of time. And the third thing is you don't really need 6 or 7 meetings, in my opinion. That takes you more to 9 months to close a customer. So the focus should be really on closing the deal, and and not the sales process itself.
Yeah.
Well, we also have prepared a slide regarding the sales process. Very interesting. Stefan will share that in a few seconds with you, and there you will see the 6 to 7 figure sales process, basically the way from a lead to a customer. So basically, the longest period is, in my opinion, before the lead to get an MQL, so market qualified lead, and from the opportunity to a customer. Well, the question is why, right? Because it can take up to months or years, even for me sometimes, to connect with the right people in the company. Employment changed, higher position, or the decision maker have changed. Can't reach the right people by mail or by phone. It's difficult. Wrong timing, or the project, or ongoing, not enough personal resources. And until you get the right person in the company in a meeting, can drive to really close your deal, or you need to figure out first to analyze and research the way to contact the right people in the company. So the other thing, what I also realized was if your pitch is not good enough, or your mindset. So basically, it's lack of positive thinking, not stubborn enough. You have not or you have no brainer as an offer, I would call it, or you're not the best in your field, or not an expert, so that you can lacking of appointments. It's very, very simple. But this topic about cold calling and right offer, we will discuss in the next webinar. So also join us here if you want. It's, I think, in October. So let's come back to the sales process. So first, it's a lead, right? So first, it's a lead. You have to make contact with your ICP, ideal customer profile, over cold calling, events, or campaigns, or other sources. So then it's an MQL, as a market qualified lead. And if you have made contact and set up an appointment, then he is first an MQL. Whenever I speak to a prospect, it was always first an MQL, and then it will be an SQL. So this is basically the shortest part of the prospect, but also the most important one. So the sales qualified lead, because during this conversation with the prospect is either qualified or disqualified. And after the conversation, when he's qualified, I'm open a deal, and he moves to opportunity.
Maybe Raphael, I think this is where we struggle as well, right? So at least where I personally struggle. So, I mean, yeah, is it about the process? Is it about the tactics I use? I think generating leads, I also see the comment from Jose Garcia, if I pronounce that correctly. I'll put it on the screen. So generating those leads and maybe even doing the MQL stuff, that's work, right? So that is, you need to do that work. Making that contact is not the problem. I totally recognize that, right? So yes, maybe generating leads is difficult, or qualifying them is work. Like you need to sit down and do that, or you need to have a partner that does that, or a colleague that does that. Maybe you get the MQLs in your inbox. I mean, that is sort of, I would say, knowable, right? Still, it's difficult, right? Still, you can totally hit the right mark with your messaging and really tap into the problem that they have, or their actual industry, or automate that fully, or scale that up fully, or do a very, very sort of account-based outreach already, and personalize that as much as possible, maybe even with AI. But again, like Jose says, generating those contacts, that is a solved problem, at least for me. Like I would be very curious to that conversation, that SQL conversation that you have with the marketing qualified lead. How does that work?
Yeah, well, I mean, actually, it starts that's why I mentioned before, it starts before the lead. Because if you, let's talk about between lead and MQL. If you know your ideal customer profile and you contact them, you need to have prepared already a great pitch, a power pitch that already on the phone or by mail, your prospect, your ideal customer profile knows what you have to offer, that he is interested to meet with you. So when the prospect is meeting you, then and you have a meeting with him, then you need to try to qualify him, and that's why we also coming later on the mistakes I did before. You not qualify often right the prospect. So basically by right I mean by, I would say it's called BANT, right? So BANT is called for budget, authority, need, and timing. So this 4 aspects you should definitely qualify to understand if he is qualified to you. And you have, like, I mean, most of my sales calls, I have 45 minutes, and sometimes 5, 6, 7 people jump on the call, and you don't know what to expect. So from the beginning, it's very important to have a very high energy and be a leader in the meeting. So by being a leader in the meeting, I mean that you exactly know what you are talking about. You are an expert in your field. So by only showing slides, it's not enough. So it's also be going later on this topic. It's not about you. It's not about closing the deal. It's about serving. It's about giving something. It's about your vision, about mission, to do something to generate value. And very often this value is not understood enough from the prospect that he knows, okay, why he should work with you. But it can. I mean, if you have unique selling points, and that's why I said about this power pitch, you made this power pitch clear before the call, before you sit with the prospect and have a discovery call, you can actually close, no matter how big the company is and how many people are on the call, in one meeting the deal. But of course, it's very important if you have a big companies, like when you have a 2 or 3 billion company, you need to know with who you are going to talk in the meeting. So we will come to a lot of questions about that later on, but I would say this is the most important part. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So maybe let's go back to the process again, right? So you have them as dual, right? Let's take it up from there.
Yeah. So basically, what happens after SQL, right? If you open a deal and he moves to opportunity, in my opinion, on my experience, it takes the longest time of the process, because until trust is built, decision have been made, or the right decision maker has to be involved. The timing is right. So also that's why BANT, qualifier after BANT. The need is clear, the investment is clear, and the transparency. Or the prospects can also be that he needs just more touch points with you until they want to invest in your product or in your offer, or also in yourself, I would say, about this. So to overcome this, basically the step of opportunity and the period of 9 months to move the prospect directly from SQL to a customer, I try to find a way, a key, to basically really close in one meeting and reduce therefore the sales process. And I mean, to give you also a quick idea how my sales process looked before, and maybe you also can take you experienced that also in your process. So basically in the process before, it was like this: I had a discovery call, then a demo session, then a scoping meeting, then a business case, then a follow-up meeting, then a status update, recap meeting. Then new people are involved, so you need to start with the whole process from the beginning. Motivation dropped. They have chosen not to start with you because priorities have changed, or the deal is lost or postponed until Neverland, and you don't know what is happening. And then he ends up in the sales funnel somewhere, and you never know what is happening. And this is, I think, very frustrating and disappointing, because you cannot generate value, right? Also,
I recognize that, right? So you have the pitch. You do the pitch during, well, the introduction demo meeting, or whatever you call it, the demo meeting. It is that first meeting where you sort of show what you can do, and then basically 9 months later you're still chasing them, or you're chasing the second contact person that you have because the first one left the company, and also they now have whatever they're doing as another priority. So they're opening a new country or installing this new tooling, or you're no longer top of mind, and you're just one of these guys nagging them on for the next step in the process.
Yeah, but I think it's also a learning journey, right? So success is built by failure, at least for me. So it was necessarily, because you need to know first what doesn't work to know how it should work. So you need to go through this period and to make this experience. So basically, I wanted to try a way and find the key basically to close the customer in one deal, because I told myself, if there is really a need and he has really a problem and I have the solution, then it's not then it shouldn't be a problem to close the deal. But I also realized when we come later to it as well, if you have a high priced offer and you try to sell this offer in one call, it might be difficult, because to only talk nicely and tell the benefit about your product is not enough, because at the end they want to see in practice, in doing, if it really promises what you're saying. So that's why we before didn't had any options, test options. And if we had any test options, then we needed to define the scoping. Then the test option was very price intensive, so that the decision maker said, okay, we're not going to do it. Try it by yourself, or try to find it cheaper. So, that's why it's very important to let the prospect know, hey, I know from what I'm talking, we are a market leader. We experts. So here is like a test option basically that you can try it by yourself. And if you like it, if it's promised the added value, then we can talk again, define the scoping, and then we can sell the big tickets. And this is how I close deals today, and it works. And this reduced from 9 months to sometimes 1 meeting or 1 month, but definitely faster. And then you also see it works and you generate value. And this is also like a kind of a mindset thing, what I really changed. And this is the most investment I did, to invest in my mindset. So the way of thinking I've changed. So it's not about me. And we always make it about us, about our life, about our success. But at the end, it's really about something to give. And by changing only this mindset, unconsciously the prospect, I guess, they understand it and know it and trust you.
Yeah, I mean, that is in a way so obvious, but it's also, I mean, the way even I go into most sales pitches, well, maybe all sales pitches, is like, oh, if I can just close this customer, then we can reach the target for this quarter or for this month or whatever. Or, oh, it would be very nice to have their logo on our website. Or that will be a cool thing to do with them, for them, because it's a great case to show. We can do awesome things for each other, but it's not really thinking about what the customer needs or wants.
Yeah. I mean, also what I realized, it's important sometimes to step in the foot of your customer, to ask yourself really, like, would I buy from myself? And if you cannot answer this question right away, then you know what you have to work on. And sometimes it's not only about the offer, it's also the way how we sell ourselves at the end. At the end, we lack, at the end, our product might be amazing, but we have a problem by selling ourselves. And this, therefore, is preparation everything. So the meeting itself is important, of course, but preparation is, in my opinion, everything, to build this connection, to build this power pitch, I would say. To build like a copy paste system where you know exactly what to have to talk, and you know basically already the answer from the prospect, because you have made this 100 times and you know exactly the problems and the challenges, and you ask the right questions and can basically take away the objections in forehand.
Yeah.
And also not to try, and I also realized this, not to try to make your competitor bad, right? I mean, your competitor have there's place for everyone enough, so it's not a problem. But to know your competitor and know the difference, so the unique selling point, so that they not go to another competitor and another competitor and say, hey, it was nice talking to you, but I have now 5 other offers. I need to check them first, and then I will come back to you. And this we don't want, right? So you need to know, and you need to study your competitor, that you know exactly my difference.
But how do you make sure that you do? I mean, like the day happens, right? Things happen. You get emails, you get calls, there's messages, the kids, dinner that needs to happen, the car breaks down, whatever. And then you have a sales call with Obi or with this other big customer. How do you prepare yourself mentally for that? I mean, you say it's about preparation, right? It's about knowing yourself and knowing the solution, knowing the competitor. But how do you prepare? I mean, how do you prepare like that meeting at that?
I mean, at the end, I would say it's again, it's not about you. I mean, obstacles happen, right? It's in life the same way that in business. So we need to learn how to go over these obstacles, to understand that these obstacles are not mean to annoy us or to hurt us. It's sometimes also here to teach us something, to make us stronger, to be better. Because when I see myself 2 years ago or 3 years ago, when I struggled really with closing deals, and today I can close bigger companies, then I know, okay, I have changed. So I'm not the same person. So that's why we also come later on this, that just trying to be 1% better every day. And it's enough. It's in the end of the year, 365 or how much days better than before. So,
Yeah.
and also this kind of mindset of making mistakes, right? We living in a society where it's difficult or not allowed to make mistakes so much. So mistakes are mandatory and it's normal. And we all human, and we try to avoid doing mistakes and doing everything perfect. And by trying and trying, doing it in a stage of force, basically in a wrong frequency, with lack of thinking, with losing, we sending that out. So if we are in a different kinds of stage and different kind of frequency, that we're doing something out of power, out of it, then we will also basically attract different things, because people will recognize it and see it ourselves. So we should be like an example.
I mean,
I think it's in the morning. I mean, I do it also for many years already. In the morning, it's very important how you start your morning, and it defines your success over the whole day. Not even in business, but also in life, right? So,
but then how does that work? Like, how do you make sure? I mean, you come from all these different inputs, right? And then, oh, it's 10 a.m. The meeting with the big client starts. How do you make sure how do you prepare yourself for that meeting? Like, do you take 5 minutes to ground yourself, or do you do meditation, or do you take 2 shots of vodka, or what do you do to sort of get, I mean, no, but seriously, like, how do you do that? How do you sort of prepare?
well, first of all, I would say organization is everything in business. And I prepare all the time, if I have a meeting, at least 1 or 2 days beforehand. When I was in Rome, and I had a meeting with the board of OB, for example, right? I prepared myself enough, and I put myself somewhere where I'm where it's quiet, where I'm relaxed, where I feel comfortable, and I prepared my pitch. Doesn't matter if the pitch is by phone or offline. When you are on an event, when you know there's something big going on, you need to know where you want to go, and you should know what you want to say, and then you're going to do it.
Okay.
So basically, yeah, and if it's an online meeting, then I would say 1-2 meetings before. And also the post work is also very important. So the work after the meeting. So at the end, we in sales talk sometimes more than we should. That's also a mistake I did in the past. So we should talk less and listen more. And number 2, we should summarize the topics that are important for the customers. So the problems and the goals. And by summarizing this just in a simple slide, for example, and showing in the next meeting when he wants to do a decision with you, then he understands, hey, you have listened. It's exactly what I want. And then you You provide him the solution, and then you need to give him also the idea that it's not about the money, it's not about the closing the deal, it's about him, it's about the transformation, not even about the goal. And give him like kind of a guarantee that he understands this is a right investment I did, basically like a no-brainer. And I mean, I see it very often in sales. There is no no-brainer. I mean, first of all, when I get you maybe also might get some emails sometimes from some campaigns, you know already it's a sales pitch and you don't know what they offer. So it's like for me totally unclear. So it must be really knowing your offer. And even by a cold calling pitch, don't try to be a cold calling and listen on asking question by the cold calling and get an appointment and have your pitch prepared. So it's, again, everything is about preparation. And then it doesn't matter if you go to New York alone or with a huge company with 20 salespeople. You can go alone and you can do everything by your own if you know what you're going to say and what your product has for value. It should be like a power pitch, as I said.
I mean, yes, it's preparation, right? And it is preparation of your material and of your tooling, and that needs to be all in order, and that is all preparation, right? So assuming, and that is a learning journey as well, right? So your organization needs to go through that learning process and needs to have the products available. You need to be prepared because you need to understand the product, the proposition, and how it helps your customer. But I'm curious how you get into the skin of that customer. Like, how do you make sure that during that preparation maybe gives you the freedom to go and really experience the world through the eyes of the customer? But next to preparation, how do you get into that customer mindset, if that is a name for that?
Well, it's very, I mean, to understand what he really is looking for. What does he want? Why should he buy from you? Like what he has for a benefit from it, right? This is a thing. This is the question. I mean, the same when you make a cold call or write by email or whatever to try to get someone interest. What is in for him? What it makes him interesting? To study a little bit the market, the industry, the company itself. Before I make a cold call, I always go quickly to the website to understand if my pitch is how I can connect this pitch to this company that I get an appointment. Today I created some different kind of pitch where I know, okay, I need to be in a certain stage. I need to have a tonality that allows me to get an appointment right away. And then it's basically again asking the right question to the prospect during the qualification and lead him. Be a leader, lead him, and then tell him what the next steps are to do. Because at the end, also, we are going to talk just now about my mistakes I did in the past, right? Mm-hmm. So in the mistakes, it was not defined who is going to do what now. Like, I'm going to send now the email. He's need to do what now, right? And at the end, the customer is lost, go out from the meeting, and doesn't know what to do. And by them also, what I also have learned is we sometimes afraid to close deals. And at the end, we shouldn't be afraid to close deals. I mean, at the end, it should be a win-win situation for everyone. And the prospect should know what he has to do and lead him and guide him a little bit.
But how do you recognize if you're afraid to close a deal? That sounds familiar in a way. Like it's difficult to ask for stuff, for money, for thousands of euros.
Yeah. If you're not believe enough in, first of all, yourself, I would say, you're not confident, you have not experience enough in closing big deals, big tickets, and you not believe enough in your product or your company, or you're just in a wrong company, I mean, in a wrong position, right? You are not an expert in your field enough, I would say, or you're just afraid to tell the customer the price because you might think it's too overpriced. It's not, it should be cheaper, right? Also, by using different kind of words like costs, buying instead of using investment, value, generating, transformation, etc. So that's why I think sometimes we think it might be too expensive for a company because it's not in basically, it's not in balance, right? The price with the benefit.
Yeah. I mean, let's go to your mistakes, because I mean, I've been doing some sales for a bit now, but I don't think I've been doing that many sales calls or even big ticket deals than you have. What mistakes did you make? What did you learn from those mistakes?
I have made I made a huge bullet list, but let's summarize it to 4 important ones. So number 1, I think I told it already. I wanted to close so much. The focus was only on closing the deal and not on the client. It was like coming on a stage of lack and not power, ease, or peace, and confident and focusing on serving, on giving something with my offer or with my project, and the consciousness that it's not about me. And number 2, it was I did not tell the price right away. Wrong mindset about it's too expensive or he won't buy it anyway. So that actually happened then. Then the sales process was way too complicated. Did not set up a meeting, complicated scoping list to count the price indication. Too many people need to get involved and so on. And no different testing options and way overpriced test option that takes extremely long to understand for the prospect what he's going to test, and until he starts it takes too long.
Yeah. But let's focus on each of them in turn. So you said you wanted to close so much, right? So focus. I think that is the sign of a good salesman, right? That they want to close, really. Why would you say that is a mistake? Why is that a mistake for making big deals?
It's not really a mistake. It's just the focus has changed. Before my focus was about me, about ego related, what I do, what I have from it, no? About my career, about my business, etc. It just changed the focus. I would say energy flows where focus goes. So the focus was just on, hey, serving, giving something, and making a change in the world in some aspect, or the transformation. And this is the way of focus that has changed. So to let the prospect basically buy, so that you don't have to close anymore. So away from this force, because we have too much people in sales, they are trying this force to sell, and they get done unfriendly or frustrated or disappointed when you're not close, and you know it, right? And you know also kind of this different kind of coaching programs where they show themselves, and maybe in Instagram or on social media, it's all about them, right? So you are in the background, and this is also for me fine, because to have a successful life and show it in a way is fine, but it should be, in my opinion, about the prospect, about him, about his transformation, and not about again buying something overpriced that I don't know what I have for value for it. Because if I know the value, then I'm also ready to invest. But sometimes we just not good enough in sales to tell the benefit and the value to the customer, that he knows, hey, I want this right away. That's why sometimes it needs more touch point, and this is fine. But at least then you need to know how to close him in the second meeting. So, for example, to give you a direct example, I had in April a meeting with XXX Lutz. So, and when I had a meeting with them, they knew exactly what they're going to get. So I could tell them the benefit and the USP from our offer, that they knew they want to buy it. So they told me the timing was wrong. It was clear communication. So we had a meeting for 1 week, and I got a signature this week. So that means even the sales process can sometimes take longer. We will not close every meeting by one close. This is impossible, but at least a lot of them, let's say. But by telling him and keep in touch with the prospect and tell him you are a market leader, you're not just some company, like just some you need to get a bigger picture of your offer about this transformation, that he actually buy then and invest, and you get the signature, even if you haven't spoken with him for 3 or 4 months. Then you don't need to have another meeting and tell them again about your benefits, about USPs, or you can straight focus on the product itself and how we're going now to the next period of testing and closing the deal.
But in a sense, I mean, it's you could say it's about you still, or the organization still, because you need to communicate that you're market leader. I think it is actually still the customer then who you're thinking about, because they don't need to worry, right? So they don't need to worry about whether you are not the market leader or the market leader. They just need to have that trust that whatever you're offering is going to solve their problems, right? It is maybe because you're market leader, maybe because
market leader in a sense
you.
meant also that I mean, yes, not everyone is a market leader, of course.
Yeah.
So, but if you try to sell it in a way that you like the best in the field of you are, then you make yourself as a market leader, even if you maybe not. But then they want to work with you as a person. They like you. They feel that you really want to work with them. You make the prospect as your buddy, basically, because at the end he's also just someone working in a big company and try to be successful in his stage. So at the end he also needs to go to the decision maker when we sell at the big ticket after the test option and to get the money. So you need to be enabling. So like basically you are on one team with the prospect. This is also the way of thinking I have changed. And then it's basically you and the prospect against the big boss maybe after the test option. That's why I also recommend to make the test option right after the right after the sales call, and not selling. I mean, of course you can sell the big tickets. Sometimes it's not a problem if you have built enough trust, but most of the time they want to test it to see an experience making praxis, to see if this what you talked is really then fine, because otherwise the decision maker would say, hey, try other solutions, maybe they're cheaper or better, whatever. And then after 1 month testing you can sell the big tickets.
Maybe go back to the other mistake where you say not starting with the price, right? So why is it such a problem to not mention the price right away, or not mention the price in the first call?
I mean, in my opinion, or on our stage before, it was that we needed to have more information from the prospect to build a price indication. So it was also like a wrong belief that we need several information from the prospect, that we know, okay, what on a price we can give. Then we tried a little bit of like giving a price range, and it was also not clear enough until we come to a stage, and I understood that I was not alone, because since I showed the prices right away, they told me, you're the only one who showed me the price. Your competitor don't show me the price at all. Like, wow, nice, good job. So the prospect is already happy to know, hey, I know what to expect. Clear communication, clear pricing system, not that they're coming another price later on or whatever. So it's a clear structure, and maybe also different kind of versions, like, I don't know, small, medium, large, unlimited, or whatever, to make it more structural and understandable, so that he knows, okay, what I have to expect after the testing for investment to do.
Yeah. So if I understand you correctly, Rafael, that's actually again about getting into the customer's mindset, who is frustrated with long pricing routes and long pricing negotiations and unclear pricing, clearly happy with transparent pricing because he or she knows what she's getting into, instead of having to wait for 6 meetings and doing all kinds of pricing negotiations before finally getting that final price, which might be actually too expensive. And yeah, it's all of a waste of effort at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And also by being confident about the price, how you talk about the price, this shows the prospect, are you familiar with these prices? Are you confident with this price? Because talking around, I know myself for a few years ago, when I talked around the prices and the prospect said, please tell me the price. So that's why also I think sometimes we don't let the customer buy. They want to buy, but we don't let him, because we have a wrong belief system. We are afraid to sell. So if we have a transparency price, and stop talking after telling the price for a few seconds. That gives you more confidence, because now then we try to explain ourselves why this is this price, and you can have it cheaper and so on, right? But staying confident and telling, hey, this is the test options, this is the price. Afterwards, you make it transparency. And before, again, with the scoping meetings, it's very hard, because it loses motivation. Unfortunately, it's like this. It takes energy out, because everyone is very busy. So if you cannot manage in 45 minutes or 1 hour to really keep the motivation up, and it's from you coming, not from the prospect. So it's again about your mindset, how you start in the meeting with the right energy. The meeting's energy will flop down, and then no one has interest and wants to invest, because it's effort, right? And also, if customer needs to do too much, they don't want to do too much. You need to do, unfortunately, you need to do more the job. You just need to have the commitment. If you get commitment by saying yes 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, then it's fast, it's easier to sell at the end the big ticket.
Yeah. But I need to do so much work already. I need to do the preparation. I need to keep the energy high during the meeting. I need to do all the work after the meeting. Why can I not?
Well, I would say if you talk about work, like in my opinion, it's fun. It might be not that it makes you happy by reaching a goal. By, I think, let's talk about closing 10 deals, or reaching certain financial success. Right at the end, it will make you short period of time happy, but what is afterwards, right? So that's why it's not actually about the goal itself, in my opinion.
Yeah. So success is the path, not the goal, right? It's just a side effect.
And then we also have spoken about that before earlier, I think, preempt objections. So understand already the objections from your prospects. What he's going to tell for objections, that you know how to handle it in forehand. Even it's not enough only in the sales call. It should be already when you're talking to him, the first call, even if it's a cold call or offline meeting event. If he might, you know already the objections in forehand. You can react on it and know exactly what to tell, that you know he will say, nice, sounds interesting, I want to talk to you, really, that's cool, this you want to, this we want, right? So knowing your competitors and the weak points, of course, and we talked also about this earlier, right? So you need to know your competitor and their weak points. So what defines your company, your offer from your competitors, and how you can make your prospect buy from you instead of your competitor without making your competitor bad. I mean, in my opinion, let your customer talk from their perspective. Tell the customer, the potential prospect, hey, our client working with us because of 1, 2, 3, and not because of their competitor, right?
And I mean, it is preparation, and you have to know it is powerful if you know exactly what the competitor does and what other solutions the customer might have for the solution you're bringing, the solution you're selling.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, let the reference talks, and the other thing is USP, right? Unique selling point. Do you have a unique selling point, or is it just nice to have? This is also something, right? Nice to have is not enough to buy. The motivation is not big enough. So it must be really a unique selling point from a perspective that you really know the value from your product in a way that it's a really unique point. Therefore, I think it's not enough only to sell. You need also to understand, depends on which industry we're talking about, but you need to be like an advisor, kind of. A mix of advisor, sales manager, entrepreneur, leadership, and so more than a technical background, depends again in which industry. Then the other aspect, of course, tell the price openly, confident. We also talked about it before, setting the test option so that you know that he can sell, that you can sell the big ticket as soon as possible right afterwards.
I mean, you mentioned the test option, right? I think that is super interesting. It's not always something you can control as a sales manager, of course, right? So it's something that the organization controls usually. But looking at test options, what is the main learning when it comes to trying the product that brings the value or trying the service that brings value? Because on one hand, you have the philosophy of you shouldn't give away your product for free, or don't do proof of concepts, don't do proof of values, at least not for free. Or you have to do proof of concepts and you have to do them for free to get the customer and close them on the bigger ticket item. So what do you think about do you do a proof of concept or not?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. So basically, in the end, you want to sell the big ticket. You need to give the feeling to the prospect that you don't need to price the test option. You can basically sell it for free. That makes you strong and confident because if you say basically, hey, I know the product works, test it out. We could give it for you for free. But from a psychological point of view, for your commitment, we have here a price shield. So just take it, learn how it works, or we will create a kickoff and we guide you to the test option. So you guide him again, even in the test option, to make sure the test will be successful, that okay, this will be the ticket afterwards. I mean, at the end, right, you can, and this was the mistake I did before as well, you can sell the test really overpriced, but again, it makes the decision process really long. I mean, I don't say you should sell the test options for super low price, for a price that he can't say no. So you really give him, before he buys already the no-brainer, you give him a no-brainer for the test option that he can't say no, that he say, I want to test it. He made me so interesting in his company and his product as a person. I want now to test the product right away. Then you can set up even a kickoff meeting afterwards right away. He might, he can decide by himself, most probably, and very often use case I have this proof that he doesn't need to go to the decision maker to get the approval to invest. So he can invest already. If it's about like 10, 20, 30,000 test options, he needs to go to the decision maker. And again, he will, you have difficult objections to handle, but in the end, the customer gives the signature and not you. So you can't control it. So better do this the way opposite of drop the price a little bit, not too low. Tell the prices for the big tickets right afterwards, that he knows what to expect. When the test option is successful, the decision maker and the team will be on your side. It's much easier to get than the big boss on the game, that he will say, yes, we're going to do it because my team tested. What you say is, yeah, we could prove it, added value. So let's start together this journey, this transformation, and we're going to invest. And then also, it's good to have a model that gives you opportunity to in stages. So stage one, kind of like small ticket. Then he can start with a small ticket, but it gives you enough revenue to start and to sell a big deal. Then after 3 months or 5 months, he can buy the medium version or large version. In my opinion, I mean, my perspective, it worked in my use cases, because at the end you need to find a way that the decision process drops. I mean, in the end, right, all those elements, when you overcome them, to step the opportunity and sell directly from the first touch point with projects right away, by focusing on serving, generate value, and don't focus anymore on the sales process and sending emails, making waste of time by follow-up meeting that just cost you frustration and disappointment.
Right. Maybe, as you said, Raphael, it depends, right? So it depends really on the product that you're selling. It depends on the company that you're working for. It depends on you and your preparation, your mindset. It depends on the customer, the business itself, the organization. It depends on the person you're talking to, the person you're selling to. I agree that it is not necessarily always the key decision maker that you should have to sell to. Like, even an engineer can make a decision, especially if you are able to provide that proof of concept for free. But every situation is unique, right? Whether you are selling a product or a service or a productized service or something that is very tangible and or something that is very intangible, like an IT product, something that is maybe adding to the bottom line, like something that helps people sell better or helps the company sell better to customers, that leads to direct return on investment, versus something that is more on the cost saving side, right? So something that saves them the customer a lot of money or time or frustration or whatever it is a different type of sales pitch, different types of conversation you will have with the customer. Though I do think that you say it is the same always, because it's always about the customer, right? So it's always about what he or she wants to achieve, what the goals are that they want to achieve, and then providing that as good as possible.
Yes,
If you,
a mixture from patterns, mindset, and like creating a no-brainer. Yeah.
If you, I mean, we have been discussing this, but like if you want to, we're doing this as a part of a series. We're going to touch on the cold calling aspect of sales in our follow-up meeting. It is a series where we try to educate and share as much as possible. Can you talk a bit maybe about the coaching you do for other sales leaders in the field?
Yeah, basically, I help others to transform their sales process into a really uncomplicated sales process. Besides, we helping to create a power pitch that really allows you to get a lot of appointments, and of course to reduce the sales process from 9 months, or depends with what you are struggling. This is exactly what we're trying to help, to really transform this sales process into a huge success with our own experience, and try to implement by analyzing the process and the meetings and the pitch, even to create a power pitch, to even supporting cold calling. I mean, from my point of view, I know this is something that most of the sales don't want to do and don't like. My opinion, I love doing it because I know what I'm doing. So it's also kind of, you can like it, but my opinion, you should a little bit know how to do it to get an expert at. So yeah, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, cool. I mean, and it's something we are going to offer as well. If you in the audience have any questions regarding sales, or you want to have your own power pitch, or you want to ask your questions in a one-on-one follow-up with Raphael or with me, we'll be able to connect you to us through a Calendly link that we will share with everyone. If you want to ask your questions, or if you want to know more, or if you want to create your own power pitch together with Raphael, because we understand that every product, every customer, every sales process is unique, right? If you go into the details, it is a unique process. So we are coming up on time. I can continue for 2 more hours, I think, but we still have, of course, a follow-up session that we're going to plan. In that follow-up session, I mean, there's plenty of topics we can cover, from preparing the power pitch, but also doing the cold calling, how that conversation works. That is coming up as the next topic. So I would say stay tuned. Follow Navigatio on LinkedIn, and we'll definitely let you know when that is going to happen. I would say, Raphael, thank you for making the time available today and sharing your knowledge, and sharing your knowledge with me, but also with the audience. And I hope to see you in a follow-up meeting as well. For the audience, I also want to thank you for your attention, staying with us for this time on a Friday afternoon. If you missed a bit, or if you want to know more, we will be sharing a recording to everyone in the call. So if you missed a bit, or if you dropped in late, we will send a recording to everyone that was attending. I really hope to see you later, be that in a one-on-one with me or with Raphael. See you later on our site, so navigatio.net, or see you later in one of our follow-up conversations that we have with Raphael and others as well. So have a good weekend, have a good day. Thanks for joining us today and bearing with us with all the technical issues. And I hope to see you all really, really soon. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Thank you.